What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Sam Claiborne,
Game Scoop,
and Ryan McCaffrey.
Coming at ya.
And we've got a great show for you this week. It's GDC week here in San Francisco. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of cool games are being revealed. We're going to talk about some new Nintendo announcements that we heard from this morning. We're going to talk about the games we would use to explain to an alien what video games are.
Ooh, love it.
Oh man!
But
Miss Pac-Man. We don't have to talk about that.
But first, the Atari VCS was released in 1977 and was later to be renamed the Atari 2600, and it is back, baby.
41 years later.
Yeah. We've known Atari had a new console nicknamed the Atari Box for a while, and yesterday they revealed its official name is the Atari VCS, and has a very cool retro logo.
Not only a retro logo, but the look of it looks like one issue of the Atari with these like weird ridges.
Yep.
And it looks like it would belong in Blade Runner, which is good because the Atari logo is in Blade Runner and the new
Both
Blade Runner.
Blade Runners.
Yep. And then it has a joystick, like an Atari joystick.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know what's going on with the system, but it also has a controller, like that looks like an Xbox controller.
Basically.
But the analog stick is red. And so if you look at it, it looks just like that red button in the same placement of the original Atari controller.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't end
cool
up being
branding.
the Dumb and Dumber 2 of video game consoles, where it's like, oh, this is the sequel I wanted, but like 20 years too late.
Yeah.
It's a new
It's what, prepackaged or preloaded games?
Well, so we don't know yet. All they just
No, it's not. It's nothing to do with Atari games though. They want to make it like a playing PC games type thing.
It sounds like kind of like a
It's not like a flashback, for instance.
It
like
sounds
Atari
like you mentioned. It sounds like an Ouya. It's like a digital only console with like a storefront that you'll download games to, and it's got this retro style controller. I mean, I don't know.
So it's like all that stuff that you didn't want,
Yeah.
but it looks really nice.
It does look nice. It's very thin. So you know they haven't confirmed that it's digital.
But we'll
only,
see.
But I'm assuming
We'll see what the games are.
The business reality, though, is it can't possibly be as big as what some people want it or imagine it to be, because it costs billions of dollars to launch like a real console. So it probably is an Ouya level type, which isn't. It's not to write it off, but just set the expectations.
Who is it for?
that's a good question.
For Sam
Justin.
Claiborne.
Yeah, it's
No,
for
I
Sam.
don't want it.
You don't want it,
I don't need to stream games. I have a Switch.
even though you think it looks nice.
It looks so nice.
It's
It does
a
look
new.
really nice.
It's a new Atari.
But all
console.
my game systems, even old ones that look nice, are in a cabinet, so it doesn't even matter.
And so, we've talked on Scoop before that the Atari name, when that company got bought and sold, has been split up, and one company owned the actual name Atari, but then a different company owned the rights to most of the old Atari games. And do we know who is making this thing? Like, where does it come from?
Well, it's the Atari company today. Whatever.
Is it still Infogrames?
That's
Not
what
Infogrames anymore. I don't think.
I don't know. I think it might be.
There's no way to know.
I don't think there's still.
No, how could anyone
I
know?
don't think Infogrames is still around.
But they changed their name to Atari.
Former Alone in the Dark was like their last big hurrah on the
That was an
360.
Atari game?
Infogrames.
Infogrames. Wow, that was wow. They launched that game twice, didn't they? They sort of they launched it. It was
It didn't go well.
Yeah, it was terrible. Anyway,
I think Atari published in 2000s. They did Rush the Rock, SF Rush, which we have a cabinet for here, and they did some Gauntlet Legends games, and then they just evaporated.
See, that's what this is what I'm getting at. I wish I knew more of the details, but Atari Games was separate from they were doing different stuff in arcades from the company that owned the rights to the 2600 and the actual box. And so I'm not sure where. I'll need to do a little digging. And
Do you guys
figure out
know
where
who
this
the first company to buy Atari was?
oh,
For a lot of money.
what Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers. Isn't that crazy that a giant movie studio was we need to get into the game business. What are we going to do? And then they just buy Atari for tens of millions of
Well,
dollars.
think about how big Pong and Space Invaders and Pac-Man were at the time.
They also later bought AOL. Same company.
Yeah.
Really, their mentality is let's not
no.
grow anything organically. Let's just buy our way out of our.
I wonder if Atari
desires.
paid for itself in those 2 scant years before the video game crisis,
Good question.
Probably.
1983.
So this is an official line from Atari in the press release. It says, the Atari VCS will, of course, serve up lots of classic content, but it is so much more than a retro box. It is a completely new Atari connected device designed for today's living room.
So can I watch Netflix on it?
I mean...
You can watch Netflix on it and watch Netflix with a joystick.
Yeah.
Can you watch GameScoop on it?
I don't know.
Here's how they can win. They put Netflix on it, but every time you see a little preview of a show, it's not freaking audio.
It doesn't autoplay the
doesn't
trailers.
autoplay the
We have
trailers,
Netflix,
yeah.
but it won't play trailers.
Everybody will buy one.
You know you can't turn that feature off?
Yes, I
Yes.
know.
It's crazy. No one likes it. No one wants that feature, and you can't turn it off.
Oh my gosh, after you watch like a heavy episode of something, and then it's like Ricky Gervais comes on shouting.
Yeah, it's like, what? Are they doing it to inflate their views? I don't know what they're doing. There must be some reason.
I think they're doing it because even though people complain, like it's working. Like they're probably it's the same. It's like, okay, look, everyone's howling on Twitter, but viewership's up 12% or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
All right. Further reading from Atari says Atari intends its new video computer system to change the way you interact with your TV.
Are you gonna,
It scoffs.
are you
Spit
gonna
take
put up
over there.
pictures of the Atari
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this episode? All right.
Yeah, I will.
it does. The console looks very cool, but as you can tell by our voice, we're a little skeptical here.
Maybe the whole thing's a motion controller.
I just like. I know what you got to really bring something new to the table if you're going to release a fourth home console availability.
And do we know when? Do you know like price and release date and that stuff yet? So
I think it's being crowdfunded.
that's what I was
isn't it?
gonna say. If they kickstart it, then they'll
I think
be
it's
able
already.
to-
I think that's already happening, if I'm not mistaken.
nobody knows.
Yeah,
It'll be at GDC though, and we'll have more news on this as the week goes by.
yeah. They are calling this they have what they are calling a prototype.
Wait, is it available for pre-order? Wait,
No, it's not available for pre-order. I don't know, man. It's we're getting a new Atari console. There's a really cool logo. I like the logo. I think the console looks cool, but I don't know.
So you'll buy a T-shirt with the logo on.
Yeah, I would buy this T-shirt.
It's the most cyberpunk looking console we've ever got.
you know what they should do if they're not is they should have like rent some studio space and make some retro shows, make like documentaries about retro games. Then you can buy retro games. Just make it a retro box for more than just games.
But Justin, it is so much more than a retro box.
Fair enough. But I mean,
It'll
like,
change the way you sit on a couch.
I just think like if it was a whole portal where it's like, now I'm gonna watch an old episode of whatever the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. That's Nintendo. But you take my point.
People will walk into your living room and just be confused and frightened when they see this.
That's your living room.
So it has
true.
Netflix, but it only airs
Yeah.
shows from the 70s.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Go all in.
TV was like terrible.
That's
It'd be
what I'm
like
saying.
Chips and the Brady
Chips,
Bunch.
yeah.
Love Boat, was that in the 70s?
Yeah.
Fantasy Island?
Banana splits.
Ooh, Star Wars.
Yeah. And speaking of Atari, we got an interesting email this week from a video game world champion.
Oh boy.
Listen to this. This is
You,
from.
world champion contacted you
Yeah.
directly,
Yes.
not through his people.
No.
Okay.
This is from Paul Zimmerman, and he says, "Greetings, Emag Pooks. This is the video game world champion, Paul Zimmerman. Been an IGN fan for a long time, but I only recently found out about your YouTube shows, GameScoop and Nintendo Voice Chat. I'm not on social media. I don't even have a cell phone. I just do email and watch YouTube. So I very much look forward to Fridays after 5 p.m. to watch both shows every week.
Nice.
So, talking about the new Genesis collection, which we talked about last week, I am surprised you didn't also talk about the Atari Flashback Classics coming to Switch this December. There will be
mentioned that.
There will be 2 volumes, each with 50 games. With a
He got there like 5 minutes too late.
with a possible 3rd volume in the future. So make sure you announce now during this week's show. I'm a lifelong Atari 2600 and Nintendo fan, so for me this is a perfect match. I also have many world records for Atari 2600 games, and so I'm very excited for this collection. Anyone else excited for this? And so he included he has his own video game trading card. You know the Walter Day from Twin
Twin
Galaxies.
Galaxies.
Yeah.
He put out a series of trading cards honoring, let's see, how does he put that? Honoring the history of the global video game and pinball culture, honoring the people, the games, the technology, historic milestones. Paul Zimmerman has his own card.
Whoa, I don't have my own cards.
Yeah, and this is the back of it. The back of it reads, so he's the world record holder on Berserk for the Atari 2600 console.
Intruder.
It says, on March 27th, 2010, Paul Zimmerman of Deerfield, Illinois, achieved a world record of 1,950 points on Berserk for the Atari 2600 gaming console while playing nonstop in front of a live audience for over 10 hours.
My scores are usually like 300.
Yeah.
Like that's how low scoring that game is.
Until then, no one thought a 1,000,000 point score on Berserk was possible. Paul says, many thought it was impossible to roll over the score at 1,000,000 points because a bug in the game commonly crashes the gameplay at an unknown point. But with the help of John Eden in Australia, I was the first in the world to figure out how to avoid the game crashing bug. So this is Paul Zimmerman that we're
Nicely
hearing from
done.
right now.
I'm always fascinated by games that are played at a very, very high level where like the game changes. Like maybe the most obvious example is like snaking in Mario Kart. Like it's a different game when you're playing for like world record than you're just like playing for fun. Or like Halo is that way too. Like the weird stuff you can do by, rapidly switching guns and stuff like that. And so the fact that the world record is just dodging a game crashing bug is like fascinating to me. Like it just requires this specialized knowledge.
Well, I love it. If that record was set in 2010, that game was
1980.
Probably right on the cusp of 1980. So yeah, that's a really old game. I love it when people are still setting records.
He avoided the kill screen.
Yeah. We got a kill screen coming up, everyone. Anyway, are you, Sammy, excited for this?
Well, what games are in it? I haven't.
Well, we don't know. There's over 50 games in each
it's
volume.
Atari games,
but we don't know. So it's going to be Cannonball.
Yeah.
It's going to be Barnyard.
Yeah, exactly.
Barnyard Antics. What's that game?
Pitfall.
Yeah, Pitfall.
If it even has Activision games in it.
Probably
Pitfall
not.
1 and 2.
Clash of Demons. No, what's that game called? There's a boat. River Raid.
That the River Raid's like the only Atari game I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
It's also Activision.
Designed by
isn't it?
Carol Shaw.
Is it
Big fan.
Activision?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Activision's not giving up anything for free.
No. Well, but those are, I think those games are in there. Anyway.
Me, like, I respect them, but I don't find
I like
them
playing
fun in a modern context. Like
don't
any NES is my limit for I can go back to 8-bit games, and Mario obviously is still immensely playable and fun, and you can give Mario to a youngster today and they'll enjoy themselves. But Atari is it's a bridge too far.
It's educational, like adventure is interesting for all the firsts in it.
Yeah.
And there are games that are like, wow, I can't believe. Usually with Atari, and I have a bunch of Atari games, I buy them because they're licensed and they're really funny. Like the Porky's game, or like there's a King Kong game that's rare, and like there's like a bunch of like fun licensed games that just, they look really bad and they have a really funny theme, and like that's why I like Atari games. So these collections, I didn't have it. I went to big kids' houses and they had an Atari, but I never had one. And I played it.
Yeah, the level of abstraction is just like too high. Like it's just a block, and then I don't know. It's too much for me. Like, once you can see that a person is a person.
Most Atari games don't even have music because I think the sound chip is monophonic. You can only make one note at a
Basically,
time.
everything on that system has to be designed to work on Pong hardware.
Yeah,
and like that's why you see all these tricks being made where they're basically morphing a Pong game into other things, like two tanks.
Yep.
So I will take issue with like the simplicity because I know we all like arcade games from that era, but those are much more complicated and interesting. But like Miss Pac-Man, on Atari it's bad. It's better than Pac-Man.
Better than Pac-Man.
But I don't want to play it on Atari ever again. And I still love playing Miss Pac-Man in the arcade game.
Pong is fun.
Pong is super fun.
Pong is definitely fun.
Pong's like immensely
So
playable.
so is Breakout. Breakout is legitimately.
I love Breakout.
Legitimately.
And there's such great versions of that, like Arkanoid and on forward of that. But Pong, I don't think is improved in any other instances. There's a bunch of cool Pong clones where it's like basketball or like hockey and stuff like that. And some of them are neat cabinets, but it's all just like.
That was my favorite, like the we had in my house, some Pong. Like one of the other things that came out later that was like 35 Pong games in one, and it would be like hockey, but it's the exact same game, but with a smaller goal.
Yeah, or sometimes you're moving like 6 paddles on either side.
That was the whole idea of the Atari 2600. Like built into the console was a switch to switch game modes. Like the whole idea is that every game was going to have 30 to 50 different modes you could switch in there.
Yeah, 4 games in one.
It's 2,600 variants of Pong. That's what that stands for.
Yeah, basically. And since we're talking about retro games, we have an email here from Austin, right here in San Francisco. Sam can help him out. He says, I heard you talking about the analog NT, and I was wondering how it compares to the Retron 5 and the original SNES. I think he means the Super NT.
If he does, we can talk about both, but...
He says, it looks really interesting, but I wanted to see if it's worth the price tag for a retro gamer that already has a Retron 5.
Yeah, the Retron 5, first of all, my Retron 5 broke.
Oh.
And it doesn't play Super Nintendo games, so I definitely wanted to get the Super NT. And they're a little bit buggy. And
the Retron, sorry.
Yeah, the Retron is. And it comes with its own controller that you have to use for certain things,
But that
which is
controller
really
sucks.
bad.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like a plug-and-play HDMI game system for so many things, like Game Boy. This is all in one. It's like you plug in a Game Boy cart, a Famicom cart, a NES, Super NES, and Genesis. Like that's pretty amazing.
At
right?
once?
Yeah, you can put
turn them into
slots for each one.
Does it turn them into one game?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. However, it's using emulation. So that means it's introducing delay and it's introducing some other things. And it's not just as quick and speedy as an original console. Now, again, though, HDMI, from these systems looking clean. Like that's a big accomplishment. It's really worth it, right? So that's really cool. You also can't play any new homebrew games on the Retron 5 because, as I said, it's emulation, and it may be confusing to think like, why is that emulation? When you put in a cartridge, it actually dumps the ROM from the cartridge, so it has to know what is on that cartridge. So there's like a preset library.
It does specific things for each game because there's a finite number of SNES games, so it can't just read a random homebrew SNES game. It's like, oh, this is ActRaiser. I'm going to load this garbage.
And somehow it grabs the ROM right there in real time, and it does all this stuff. Now it also provides save states, which the Analog NT doesn't. So really, the choice you have to make is: do I want to play a bunch of SNES cartridges, like the best they can ever look, and I don't have a Retron 5 already? If you have a Retron 5, I think you're probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, so the Analog NT was the NES console that the company Analog made.
Now there's only a $500 or $400 model of that available, and that's because it has this like really fancy RGB out.
Okay, and then the Super NT is the SNES version of that was just recently released.
No RGB, but HDMI standard.
And the Super NT is like the gold standard for like if you want to play Zombies Ate My Neighbor's Cart today, like that's the way you want to do it, right?
For sure. Yeah, and also there is good homebrew stuff, and there's more and more stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah.
And if you are interested in that, or game reissues probably won't be exactly the same, so your Retron won't recognize that.
Yeah. What about that new Street Fighter 2 cart?
I didn't test that in the Retron. I should though. But as I said, my Retron broke. So it's only the Super Nintendo ports in the side that don't work on mine. I don't know why. So I could see if it's running.
All right, this morning we had a little presentation from Nintendo updating us on some indie games coming to Switch, and there are, as usual, there's just a whole avalanche of new content coming to the Switch. Some highlights that stood out to me. Number one, of course, and I know this is near and dear to Ryan's heart as well. Mark of the Ninja remastered.
So good.
I've been waiting 6 years for this game to be.
I never expected to see this game again in any way. Like it's still there, obviously, but I did not think. Because the lead designer, Nels Anderson, doesn't work at Clay anymore. I thought, okay, well, so the sequel's not happening. They got that, as Justin was pointing out when we were talking in the office this morning, they got that Don't Starve cash now. That's there. So I thought, Mark of the Ninja was just a one and done. That was it. So it's nice to see this come back. It's apparently not backwards compatible on Xbox One. Yeah. So this may be the reason for that, and I wonder if we'll get this remaster ported over to other platforms. I'm not a big fan of monetized backwards compatibility, but the focus here is obviously Switch, and boy, I 100% want to own this game for the Switch.
Yeah. So it's a 2D stealth game, is that what it is? Yeah. I missed it, but it looked really good. I just can't remember all the details.
I think it was both Ryan and I's favorite game of 2012.
Yeah, it's right there. It's
that's crazy.
Well, I voted for Walking Dead for Game of the Year that year, but Mark of the Ninja, I think I voted for Xbox Game of the Year. But anyway,
really cool.
It's arguably, I know like Metal Gear fans are going to get all over me right now, but it's arguably the best pure stealth game since Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Because there just aren't that many pure stealth games anymore. And this was very much that. The art style is amazing.
Yeah. So what's cool is that it's a ninja game that is a stealth game because Ninja Gaiden obviously it's not a stealth game at all. So like that and Tenchu, it's kind of like that's all there is for like true ninja stealth game.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's got that really cool clay art style. It's the same artist that worked on Shank.
Yes.
If you remember that one. Yeah, so that's just really cool. And then I don't think it ever came to PS4 or PS3.
I think it was only on Xbox.
It was like the last Summer of Arcade. Or no, actually, sorry, it wasn't Summer of Arcade. It was later, but yeah, it was arcade.
Yeah, so
towards the end of it.
This announcement this morning was just for the Switch version, but like Ryan was saying, I would anticipate it coming to at least Xbox One. Hopefully,
they were doing a weird thing. Nintendo had their version. They were calling things system exclusives.
Yeah.
Which
as opposed to
at their event today,
which was, and Microsoft was calling them. Now I'm blanking out, but basically, is their way of saying it's a console? Like it's still on PC.
Yeah.
But my point is, I don't know. I don't remember how they addressed Mark of the Ninja. If they called it a system exclusive or what, but I got to go back and look at the tape.
They definitely were Nintendo was using that word for games that are also on PC. PC and Switch is a system exclusive on the Switch, according to Nintendo.
PC's not a system.
I guess. I don't know how that works. But also part of Nintendo's presentation was Lumines.
Oh, yes.
Remastered. Is this the original Lumines that they're bringing back?
Dude,
That's really cool.
Lumines is so good. That
Yeah.
was like the reason to own a PSP.
I was going to say it's literally my fondest memory of that platform.
Yeah.
Remember how that and Meteos were out at the same time, and there was kind of like, which one's better?
Yeah, but there wasn't really like only amongst people that weren't paying attention. I don't think because man,
Or people that only had a DS, I guess.
yeah, Lumines I think is probably my favorite puzzle game of all time. And by puzzle game, I guess I mean like block matching puzzle games, like in the Tetris style. Like I like The Witness.
Do you like it more than Peggle?
Well, we were talking about this on Scoop last week. It's funny to have you bring it up again. Does Peggle even count as a puzzle game? I don't know what it is.
Totally.
Oh, it's totally a puzzle game.
It's kind of
For
its
sure.
own thing.
Or is it an arcade game?
Yeah, I don't know that I would call it puzzle. Anyway, in that
I don't want to drag the show down.
that's
It's interesting.
like out of all the Bejeweleds and Tetrises and all those in the world, I think Lumines is the best and my favorite one. Like its ability to like sort of put players in like, you know, a perfect flow state and you just feel like you're inside the game and like your fingers are doing things without you thinking about it. It's like that and like Geometry Wars, man. Like,
Yeah.
whew.
And that one we know for sure is also coming to PS4. And
And once again, very perfect for the Switch.
Yeah. Oh,
very
Gosh,
happy to
is it-
see
yeah,
it.
handheld game.
Is
Absolutely.
it a controller based or touch based?
Controller based.
Cool.
Yeah.
It came out on mobile, so maybe they'll also do touch controls. But I mean, everyone played it on the PSP with
Yeah,
controllers.
that's just
Absolutely pick up Luminous for Switch. There's just no doubt about that.
a few other highlights that stood out to me. The Messenger is one of them. Funny, we were just talking about Ninja Gaiden. This is
They talked about that in that direct.
It was in their.
That's
direct.
really
They announced
cool.
It's coming to Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, at first glance, it's a Ninja Gaiden like an 8-bit side-scrolling ninja platformer, but there's a lot more to it as it rolls out. Some of this I can't share yet. Some of it's under embargo, but
You went and saw it though.
they brought it here, to
Yeah.
the office, and very cool. Lots of tricks up its sleeve. Definitely lots of surprising things you wouldn't expect happen in this game.
Well, I'm kind of inferring what we can't talk about, but I will say the graphics are really, really cool.
Yeah, that part they have announced. It does start as an 8-bit game and then becomes a 16-bit game at some point.
That's what they showed in their trailer
Yeah,
today.
that
It's like
they're
it's got a time travel mechanic in the game, and as you're traveling through time, the graphics of the game.
Oh my God,
also
I'm so on
change.
board with
yeah,
that.
and then they use
then
that
music
for puzzle.
changes.
Yeah, and the music changes. So basically, the whole game is rendered in both 8 and 16-bit. Every screen
Yeah.
can flip back and forth.
It's as jarring as the Halo 1 reissue. Where you can
Oh,
go
you
back
could
and
just press
forth.
the button, go back and forth.
It's so cool like that to see how far
yeah.
there is a difference between even 16 and 8-bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, big difference. And there's even more surprising stuff that the game does that I'll be able to share with you in the next coming days. Garage is a Switch exclusive. At least they're calling it exclusive. Maybe this is their weird wording. Garage is a bloody top-down shooter inspired by VHS era B movies, and it kind of gave me like a Hotline Miami vibe.
Yeah.
It's a top-down.
Smash TV style.
Yeah. Anyway, that seemed kind of cool. Did you see Bomb Chicken?
No.
Bomb Chicken is a
It looks really cool.
pixelated side-scrolling platformer. You're a chicken and you lay bombs and you use them to for puzzle solving and traversing the environment. But, so it's like you can if a platform's too high, you can lay 4 bombs to get you high enough, but you can't spend too much time or else the bombs will blow up.
So there's another chicken-based arcade game back in the day called Chicken Shift.
Yeah.
And a chicken lays an egg and it rolls down these little puzzle platforms, and you have to kind of get the egg there safely.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is that on Chicken Shift on the marquee, you can just cover up the F with 2 fingers and take pictures, and it looks really great.
It's hilarious.
Did you ever play Takitori or Takitori 2?
Oh yeah, that's another
Isn't it
chicken-based
Tokitori?
platformer.
Oh yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so the first one, cute puzzle game. But the second one, and it's coming to Switch, which is why it wasn't in the presentation today, but it jogged my memory. It's like, one of these indie games getting a second life on Switch. One of the most underrated puzzle games ever made because it's open world. Like they made an open world Metroidvania puzzle game, but the only thing stopping you from going there is that you don't know the puzzle mechanics. Like you go through the game in a certain order and you learn if I do this, that'll make grass grow, that'll make that happen. And you could have done that from the game's very first screen, but you just, until it's a little bit like The Witness in that way, actually, in that you're blocked off by your lack of knowledge of the game mechanics. Very ambitious, very clever, coming to Switch.
Any other chicken games? Billy Hatcher?
That's what I was going to say. Like,
What else is there?
Is Billy Hatcher for GameCube?
yes. Maybe
I
a Sonic
never,
team.
I never played that one.
It's great.
I did.
It's great, really? Great and shrug.
I shrugged.
Pretty clucking good.
Yeah.
I played it. I got through some of it.
Then did you see Bad North? That's the
Bad North is the one that jumped out at me.
Viking themed RTS or tower defense, maybe.
Oh yeah, okay.
That one looks kind of
Yeah, defense game with I think it's got some like roguelike elements in it where like, you know, you're eventually going to die, but then you unlock things. I don't even know if it's accurate to call it roguelike anymore, but that sort of system of you know, making a little bit more progress each time you play, sort of like Into the Breach or whatever.
Vikings, you say?
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's got kind of an abstract art style. It's not like realistic.
Very,
Like
very
Banner Saga?
Well, not less, even more abstract than Banner Saga. But speaking of, Banner Saga 3 was also announced.
and 1 and 2, the whole trilogy.
Oh, the whole trilogy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool game.
That is a good Switch match.
The story's kind of a bummer, I think. It's like really dark.
I liked
Bleak.
that game a lot, but it was too much for me. Like you have to make these choices about like which child lives. I'm like, I don't know.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff.
Sophie's
The
Choice.
that game whose name escapes me with the where it's the messed up game of billiards. You're like a cue ball.
Oh, the pool one.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah, there's a like a comical arcadey pool game coming to Switch with like a cartoon art style.
Space Pool.
Yeah. So would think it'll be as good as Lunar Pool?
Lunar Pool is so dumb. How would you like to play pool in 0G?
I really liked arcade pool games when I was a kid.
There's definitely an
Really?
opportunity, like Nintendo popularized,
Side
you know,
pocket.
like Mario Golf and Hot Shots Golf. There's like arcadey golf, but there's not really like arcadey silly pool.
Not anymore.
But it feels like there could be or should be.
Like Mario Golf?
What was-
you're saying?
Yeah.
Like with
Like,
pool?
but for pool.
What was the golf game, Ryan? Like Disaster Golf or Dangerous
Oh.
Golf?
Dangerous Golf.
Is that what it's called?
The
Oh
Burnout
well,
team.
Dangerous Golf was the one from the ex Burnout people.
Yeah. That was just like last year or 2 years ago now.
And then I thought you were gonna. There's 100-foot tall robot golf for
that one too,
PSVR,
the
which
VR
I
game, yeah.
didn't like.
yeah.
But
Well, I don't think you liked Dangerous Golf much either, did you?
no, it was super shallow.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not
I like
new Burnout.
it's kind of like pool, but more like mini golf, but Kirby's Dream Course, which
Yep.
is in the SNES
Yeah.
Classic Collection.
Yeah.
It's about putting Kirby in a bunch of holes.
Ribbit King.
Ribbit King.
What's that?
It's an arcadey, silly pool/golf game on the PS2.
All right. Anyway, that's enough pool scoop over here.
Pool scoop.
All right, Ryan, we're going to excuse you, let you. You're running to a meeting to see a bunch of Xbox indie games.
Yeah,
right?
the ID at Xbox showcase. So look for some coverage of that coming up on IGN. Word is that Below is there.
Whoa.
Below is back.
Still coming. Announced at E3 2013. I
That's
believe.
right. Before the system came out.
Yeah, 5 long years ago.
That's really funny.
All right, and now I'll magically transform into a much cooler person in the form of Lucy O'Brien.
Thanks for joining us, Ryan. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We are joined now by Lucy O'Brien from IGN Australia.
Hello.
Hello. Lucy, you're over here in the States for like 2 weeks, right?
I have been, yeah. So I got to check out the new Jurassic World game.
Evolution? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
Evolution, which I'm still under embargo. I can't talk about that. But
Can't talk about anything?
impressions are, well, I'll just say as a Jurassic Park fan,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm allowed to say that. That's totally
Okay,
fine.
cool.
And where do you stand on World the movie?
I'm lukewarm.
Lukewarm, same.
Yeah.
But you love the original first one. for
I love the
sure.
original first one. I'm actually a sucker for the original trilogy.
trilogy. Okay. So
am-
you can sell me on 3 at some point. I've never seen it.
I can sell you on 3.
In 3, Dr. Alan Grant has a dream. He has a nightmare where a dinosaur whispers his name.
What?
Yeah, on a plane.
Alan,
is it
and he's
one-
on an airplane.
Is it one of the puppet velociraptors?
I don't know.
just
It doesn't
don't
matter.
It looks like one of the puppets,
Yeah.
which is somehow even worse.
It's so bizarre.
That's amazing.
Cool. All right, I'm sold.
Yeah, that game looks interesting, so it's good to hear that you liked it. Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Hey.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Josh from Athens, Georgia did. And he says, I'm a longtime listener, but first-time writer. You guys have kept me listening because of your unique and thorough conversation on games based on vast information on the topic and how working in the industry has shaped your views. I'm curious, if there was someone who had never heard of video games, what 5 games would you choose to represent the entire medium? I'm calling that Justin will say The Binding of Isaac to represent the rise of roguelikes. So let's say
Typical Justin.
It's not a horrible choice.
if we were to meet an alien and we wanted to explain to an alien what a video game is,
That's a really fascinating question.
what 5 games would work best?
I think Tetris absolutely has
Tetris
to be
is
on there
really,
because
really
it's the most simple way to get someone to understand what the point of video games are.
Yeah.
It kind of teaches you how to play it like it should.
Yeah.
Like any game should, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need something.
But you need to have a knowledge of gravity.
Yeah,
able to
that's
understand
true.
it.
If it's an alien, I'm going to assume that they're an advanced civilization and
But
they
maybe they haven't had gravity for a long time.
understand what gravity is.
Like, why are all these blocks going in this
It's hard
direction?
to get anything done if you didn't have gravity.
That's like on the Voyager craft where they put like an arrow on it, like to show like it had moved out of Earth, and then I think Carl Sagan was like, hey, you know, like other civilizations might not have come about hunting with arrows, so you can't use an arrow.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That is,
You gotta
but
think about stuff.
I honestly think the more simple, the better. Like Pong,
I'm with you on
like
Tetris.
Pong,
Pong is good too.
Tetris, like just really basic stuff that you got, you know, in the 80s on those little machines that you'd buy at the mall.
You
I think
probably
Pong
need-
is good because it's 2-player. It has to be.
That's what I was gonna say. You
kinda
need
teaches
something
you
that
that.
represents competition, and I think you need something that represents like simulation and AI because that's something interesting. That
What would
games
be an
do.
example?
SimCity maybe, or like
Yeah.
something. I mean, that's again like as an alien, gonna understand SimCity, but I'm trying to think of something that represents
What about The Sims?
simulating a world or generating a world. Anything with like interesting procedural generation, maybe Minecraft.
Imagine if you were an alien and you thought that The Sims was representative of humanity.
Yeah.
That would be.
It is. It's a good way to learn about being a human.
The one time I played The Sims, my characters just peed themselves the whole time. That was it. Like,
It's life, man.
Now you know.
Yeah, sounds about
Welcome
right.
to Earth.
What about something like Mario Odyssey? I know it's a very recent game, but you know, so many games you control a character in a
Yeah.
3D space. It demonstrates just the pure joy of moving that character around the environment. You've got clear goals and objectives.
What about a game like Sonic the Hedgehog, which is perfect in every way?
Yeah, that's probably a good one to include.
I would say Mario Odyssey does not have particularly clear goals and objectives. I think a point A to point B game similar to Mario Odyssey might be a little bit like a Get Mario Galaxy maybe, where you know there's nowhere, it's not just a space where you can run away from the direction you're intended to run.
I think you could basically pick any 5 Mario games, you'd be fine. Because I like the understandability of the arcs of Mario's jumps in 2D. And I think we all kind of learned to play games that were based on that. Same with Tetris, right? Is that it's like you can understand it because it is about gravity. It is about space represented on a screen that you can kind of feel in your brain. You kind of understand how those parts are supposed to move. And Mario jumps in just the right way. You can kind of feel where he's going to be. And I think that's really important.
What about a Zelda game to represent that sense of adventure, exploration?
I think like if they were going to play that after they played all the others first,
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one to end on, a Zelda game.
yeah.
I like the idea of like that game is about, or adventure games is kind of just about probing scenery and just like figuring out like,
Yeah.
what are you
Aliens
supposed
would
to
probably
do?
be interested in the probing.
The probing they would love.
They don't even have hands though, so how are they playing these games?
You don't know if they have hands or not.
They've always waited. Since when did aliens not have hands?
Well, they
Why
usually
would
it's
they-
like tentacles, right?
Yeah.
Well, I thought the traditional sort of like little green dude
Yeah, they
had
had, like,
hands,
long
like little
fingers.
3 fingers.
E.T.
But unless they have thumbs,
I wouldn't
we're
let
in real
ET touch
trouble
my
here.
games.
You'd wrap the controller in like
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
ET's probably filthy.
Because you think you'd be slimy.
The scientists got it. They're like, okay, Elliot, you're infected with something horrible.
Yeah.
We're going to put you in a big plastic tube.
And then they replace the guns in their hands with like walkie-talkies.
Oh, that was terrible.
Well, speaking of guns, do you think a first-person shooter should be?
I was gonna say, I think
represented?
you need to have some kind of shooter just because it's such a huge portion of
Maybe
the
destroy all
market in the
humans?
industry.
But you destroy all humans, they'd probably be into that.
But I don't really know like what the best shooter would be.
Yeah, I don't Half-Life.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
you are that's an alien thing again.
Well,
Yeah, they'll be like, I'm really insulted. Like, we are not like that at all.
What about Wolfenstein? The new ones.
Yeah,
I was thinking something more pure like Devil Daggers or something like that. just to
Classic
show
Doom?
the mechanics.
Double
Classic.
Daggers.
Devil
Devil
Daggers.
Daggers.
Devil Daggers. I don't know that one.
It's like an arcade, like super fast, like you're gonna die in 3 minutes game. But it's like it has like Doom style graphics. It came out a couple years ago, like really pixelated, just stuff flying at you.
I think classic Doom. Again, like
classic
I keep
Doom's
going like go simple
Doom.
because as soon as you start like introducing complex themes and messages and stuff like that, you're going to confuse them and they might wage war. So I'm thinking
And
just
it's not
strip
about
it back.
aliens; it's about demons. So that's good.
Yeah,
And they'll understand that Nazis are bad.
exactly.
Yep.
It's
universal.
a solid message.
Solid.
What about something like Street Fighter 2, or does Pong cover off on the head-to-head, just pure competition?
I don't know about fighting games. Yeah, fighting games are pretty. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think Pong does a good job of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about something like Tony Hawk to represent that video games can can let you participate in everyday mundane activities in an exciting way, or even
Tony
like do
Hawk's a
things
really
you would
good
never
one.
do,
Nah.
like play football. No, not something like that. Okay.
Get one of those little dudes on Tony Hawk ride.
Yeah,
I'd like that. That would be funny. That'd make a great video.
I think there's an alien character in the Tony Hawk games too, right?
Yeah.
Can't you unlock an alien? Sounds about
Tony
right.
Hawk's Underground, maybe.
Well, I want to put these. Let's get these on the book. We want to do Tetris for sure, right?
Yeah.
Pong
Yeah.
and any Mario. Which Mario?
Super Mario.
Just the original Super Mario Brothers. Doom, and then something with like either The Sims, SimCity.
They're not going to understand.
Minecraft.
I've been trying to noodle
Minecraft
if there's
is
a
good.
if there's a
Minecraft?
better game that
Yeah.
simulates a world, and I can't come up with one.
I think that's
Dwarf
pretty close to
Fortress,
our
maybe.
top 5 games on our top 100 list last
Yeah.
time.
Well, okay.
It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Okay.
That is really weird.
There you go.
Maybe that's because they had that effect on us, that they introduced us to games and we like that so much.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like
it's more that they have like had such a huge effect on the industry as a whole. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're missing Zelda.
On humanity.
That's in our top 5 and didn't make it into our Alien top 5. But
Alien top 5.
I want to do. I want to do. We would need to have some sponsor come in and sponsor this project. But if we had like $1 million idea to do something really, really neat, I would want to actually send an editor to a desert island and they get to pick their game. And then just see, like, they get to record vlogs and see, like, I picked a horrible game. I'm very, very sick of
That's a great idea.
of Rainbow
I
Six.
volunteer as tribute. Choose Disgaea.
I would choose Game Boy Tetris.
Game Boy Tetris.
Really? Gosh.
It can be hard to see out there in the sun.
That
You
had
can
such
change
a,
it.
like,
There's 3 songs.
an 8-bit,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, janky noise.
It has 3 songs, Lucy.
it does have the other one.
You go insane so fast.
Do 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 do.
All right, this is Tim L. in Tampa, Florida. Says, hey, Scooper Troopers. I have been playing games almost my whole life. My first video game system was a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World. But anyway, I'm almost 30 years old and wondering if I'm coming to a point where I'm too old to be playing games still.
Yep.
My wife and my family find it odd that I still play. My question is there a point in time where you can be too old to play video games?
Well, Tim, you got to leave her.
No, of course not.
Tim,
of
I've got-
course, Of course, there's
No,
no age. Where
there
you
is
can
no
be old.
age where you're too old to play video games.
I stopped playing games 6 years ago.
The last game you played was Revenge, Mark and the Ninja.
I mean, he doesn't mention how old his kids are, but when they get, he says he's coming up on 30, so his kids are probably pretty young. And so he might discover as they get older that things come back around, right? Like then it becomes a hobby.
Yeah.
That's more of a family thing.
Yeah. No, I think maybe people have that. There's that stigma because when video games were originally intended, they were marketed to kids. The NES was aimed directly at children of the 80s.
Yeah.
But like we've grown up with games our entire lives, and they've become more sophisticated and more interesting. And yeah, it's not like a toy it's not like a G.I. Joe figure that you just put away in the toy box one
Well,
day.
ask yourself, like, what hobbies should adults do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are they? Are they
Drinking.
sports? Kids play sports.
Well, I got
But you can
schooled.
do that
Drinking,
while playing
kids
games.
drink.
Yeah.
That's true. I got schooled recently because I saw like this 45-year-old dude on a skateboard in Sydney where I live, and I was like, lame. And I like judged this dude, and I put it out on Facebook that there wasn't an age where you were too old to skateboard. And everyone was like, you are a very judgmental person, and that was a horrible thing to say, and I still skateboard. And I realized
Did he look like he didn't belong on the skateboard because he
he
was
just
going to fall?
he was wearing like a fedora and like a Hawaiian shirt
All
and
right.
like cargo shorts. It was a combination of a lot of things that,
That
were
sounds like a Tony Hawk character.
yeah,
like
yeah.
an unlockable
he was
character.
definitely like plucked straight from the early 2000s. But
No need to be ageist about it, right?
that's true. That like you're never too old for this stuff, and I'll still be playing when I'm in my late 80s if I live that long.
Yeah, that's what like nursing homes when we're all old and retired is just going to be like Command and Conquer and Halo LAN parties and just like pulling out. It's like the equivalent of them watching old black and white movies from the 50s.
You're going to be in a
now.
VR helmet. You're not coming out
Oh
of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like, no, because it's going to be the stuff from when we were young.
Yeah.
That's what we're going
You're
to
not
be.
even going to want that when they put that VR helmet on your face. And they're like, live in this world.
So
now.
all the youths are going
Ready
to be
Player
like,
One.
They're like, do you want to play Super Mario Brothers? Like, no.
I don't think so.
Put on this VR helmet.
I see it the other way.
Short answer, Tim. No, never too old. Your wife knew what she was getting into when she married you.
That's what you should tell her.
Get pinball machines.
You knew what you were getting into. That always goes over well.
You don't need to say it that way. This is Jimmy C. in Naples, Florida.
Find a nice way to say, you break it, you buy it.
Should kick the tires first. So I was just playing Until Dawn, and I was wondering, since a lot of games have multiple endings, and we find ourselves playing through multiple times to see alternate endings, wouldn't it be cool if movies did multiple endings in theaters? Like the first week they could show one ending, the second week they can show another ending. Maybe during the movie they could add or subtract slight scene changes so that the new ending makes more sense. I know I would find myself going to rewatch a movie to see the alternate ending. Then on the Blu-ray, they could have it so you could choose which ending you want to watch. Or maybe it's just random. What do you guys think?
A lot of horror,
Jimmy C,
like
there was a movie, Clue. The film Clue in 1985 had 3 different endings.
That's
in
really
theaters.
cool. I didn't know that.
Based on the board game Clue. There were 3 different endings that were randomly distributed to theaters.
I've seen parts of that movie, but I didn't know that there was 3 endings to it.
that's genuinely cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, the home video release had all 3.
Didn't
endings.
Johnny Mnemonic have like a release where you could choose something in it?
I don't know.
I thought there was some
saw
kind
the
of
movie.
theater choice tie-in with that movie.
I don't know.
I hate this idea.
Yeah. So it would make it, it's interesting as a one-off on one movie like Clue, but to have it very common, every movie wants to be a franchise now, and having different endings would completely break the canon.
And,
So-
and
Which
generally,
ending-
there's a certain caliber of film that has an alternate ending.
Yeah.
There's that sort of movie that it's like, I wasn't sure which one to go with, so I'm just going to include the second one on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And generally, those movies are not very good.
Yeah.
They're horror movies almost always.
Almost
right?
always
Really?
horror movies. Which is fine with me as a horror fan, but they're generally
Yeah.
not of a particularly high caliber.
Yeah.
So video games is a storytelling medium. You have player agency. You can choose to walk left or walk right or talk to this character or not talk to that character. And it's fun and interesting, and something unique about the games medium is that then that can have ramifications down the line, either intended ones or unintended ones. Movies, on the other hand, they don't you don't have any agency as a viewer. So, I mean, I guess Jimmy's suggesting that maybe you should or could, but goodness gracious.
Yeah.
don't
It would
know.
make it difficult to talk about the movie. Like which ending did you see?
You know,
It tends to be more
there's
of
like
like-
focus grouping for movie endings
That's
too.
true.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like
that is-
Jonathan Blow talks a lot about how game makers, it's like a dialogue. Like each puzzle that you're solving and each decision that you make into making the game is, you having a conversation with your player, and you're like forming a relationship with them. Like, see, look, like here's what I'm trying to tell you. Whereas a movie is a lot more of like a sermon. Like you sit back and then experience the vision that they have, painstakingly crafted for you.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting idea.
What if they just
JC.
didn't tell you that was happening?
Yeah.
And then
And
two
then we-
people and half the audience, it was like an A/B test where half the audience did see a different movie and
Just as a social experiment, like different characters die
I think
in
that would
Adventures of
be
Infinity
a really
War.
clever, or like if Netflix was like doing
Netflix could do something like that.
if it chose half of the people to show one version to and then the discussion around it is really interesting when people find out like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like one whole character is not in it the whole time or something.
Yeah, Netflix could be.
That would be a really good gimmick once.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
only
has to
one
be
time.
a one-off
Once.
because the word here is gimmick, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't a sustainable model.
Yeah.
You would have to do it with something like some piece of fiction where like it's an unreliable narrator to begin with, like some sort of like Fight Club or something that
Or
ends
like
in
the-
like 2 different ways.
Recent Cloverfield movie is about parallel realities.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
like it'd be fun to like have like 2 different crews of people slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting. If something, there's
Maybe Cloverfield was that way.
something
What happened in the
happens-
end?
Nobody noticed.
I don't even want to get into it. That last Cloverfield movie stank.
Aw.
And that brings us to video game 20 questions. I think this is the first time Lucy's joining us for this. Have
Did you do 20 questions before?
No, I think maybe I participated when we did it live.
Live, right.
But yeah.
you know how 20 questions works.
Yeah.
And this is you're just trying to guess a video game. This week's suggestion comes from Charlie. Let the questioning begin.
Okay.
Okay.
It does.
What's better?
I don't think Lucy sounds ready yet. Are you
Okay,
ready?
are you ready?
So it's just
20,
like,
you have yes or no
It has
questions.
to be yes or no
Yes or
questions,
no
just to
questions.
Damon, and then we're gonna guess a game, and it's usually a game that Damon likes, so he doesn't choose it.
Well,
all right, all right.
does your character wear a hat?
Okay.
It's possible.
It's possible to wear hats.
Do you get to choose your character?
Yes.
Ooh.
Can I ask straight up questions about genres?
Sure.
So you got-
Any
that's
yes or no question.
Okay. Is it an RPG?
No.
So if you choose your character and it's not an RPG, it could be a fighting game, or it could be one of these big open world games. So that's good.
I feel like you're being like really sweet with me right now and explaining like you're like
No, this is how it goes.
okay.
Is this
There's
Okay.
no buttering up.
the
going
pressure?
On at all.
There's pressure. Okay.
We converse around the game to try to get our minds wrapped around it.
All right.
Is this do most people play this game? Is it a multiplayer centric game?
Yes.
Is it a fighting game?
No.
So you pick your character.
So
It's not an
shooters.
RPG.
Shooters. Then?
Shooter, League of Legends, MOBA.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah. Is it made by Blizzard?
No.
Is it a shooter?
No.
Did this come out in the most recent round of consoles, including Switch, Xbox One, and PS4?
No.
It's older than that.
Is this considered a classic?
No.
Oh boy,
That's a good question.
that is a good question.
That is a really good one. Should add that one to your repertoire.
But I feel like any fuzziness is just an opportunity for me to throw my hands in the air. When
I
don't-
can consider Toe Jam and Earl a classic.
Well, everyone considers Toe Jam and Earl a classic.
Oh, we're on
Oh
the same
boy,
page.
that actually really derails me because I was absolutely on the MOBA train or something like that. Okay, is this game either exclusive to the PC or generally considered a PC game?
No. That's 10.
Oh, we're boned.
Yeah.
So if
But
it
wait.
gets to 10 and we're this boned, we just give up.
Okay, great.
So it's
Cool.
it's
Because
wait,
I
wait,
was
wait.
like, I don't know what the next
No, we
question
don't
is going to
actually
be.
give up.
It's not a shooter and it's not a fighting game, but it's multiplayer centric where you can select your character, but not on PC. What other multiplayer console
Mario Kart?
game? Yeah.
Was it Mario Kart?
No, wait. We're not literally giving up. Oh. We're just figured it like we're
Okay.
still.
Oh yeah. You can only ask if it's a game once,
Okay.
and ask.
I
it should be your final
rewind my
question.
question.
Of course.
Is it a racing game?
No.
Son of a bitch.
Wait, did we establish if it was a shooter or not?
Yeah, we asked shooter, and it's not.
Not
We-
a shooter.
we
It's
asked
not a racing game.
And not a fighting game, but it's a multiplayer console game.
But your character has a dang hat if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Lost Vikings?
Um,
Not a Blizzard game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had eliminated Lost Vikings, so it could be a just like a big open world action game type thing.
But it's not a shooter. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it made by From Software?
No.
I was so sure.
all right. Did this game come out before January 1st, 1990?
No. Start with 2000.
2000.
Before January 1st, 2000?
Yeah.
No.
But it's not for the current generation of consoles.
Yeah.
So that
It's
leaves,
something in that,
leaves us with like GameCube, Wii era, like PS2, PS3.
or
era.
PS3 era.
Yeah.
So is this a PS3 era game?
Last generation. PS3, Xbox 360,
Wii.
Wii or Wii U.
Decide. You tell me.
Which one do you want to ask about?
Well, I think we probably just got a freebie there from Damon, which makes up for some of the shenanigans from the last
No
few weeks.
shenanigans.
I think it's probably a Nintendo game.
Did this game come out on a Nintendo platform?
Yes.
Well, with 5 questions.
But it's not. I mean, it could be Mario Party.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did this game come out? Is this game on the Wii?
No. That's 15.
Is it?
Should we ask about handheld?
Yeah. Okay. Is it on a handheld?
No.
So sounds like Wii U or GameCube. All right, we got this.
You can technically count Wii U. I mean, you could play it handheld.
And it could be on a million.
Is this
Yeah.
game developed by Nintendo?
Yes.
Thank you.
But we asked about a fighting game, and he doesn't think Smash Brothers is a fighting game.
No, it's me that I argue sometimes
okay.
that Smash isn't a fighting game.
All right. It's made by Nintendo. We'll get this one.
So it could be Mario Party. That fits our genre so far. It's not Mario Kart.
But Mario Party, the thing about Mario Party is that it came out for 64 first, and to give us Mario Party 8 would be really weird.
That would be mean.
Well, should we just ask whether
WarioWare.
like the characters are the Mario is the Mario universe?
Yeah, we've
Like,
asked. That's a good question.
Is it in the Mario universe?
Yes.
Wow, we might get this one. We have one question, and then we have to guess.
We said Wii U. Did we confirm Wii U?
No, it could
We
be
just said
GameCube
we
or Wii U.
confirmed made by Nintendo, developed
And
by
not
Nintendo.
on the Wii.
Not on the Wii. Yeah, you're right. It would be mean to do
Nintendo
Mario
Land?
Kart. It could be Nintendo Land. It's mean to do Mario Kart 8, but that Damon may have done it to us. So I'm trying to think of the smartest way. So let's
Does
see
it
how
have
this
mini
work-
games? Is the thing for Nintendo Land?
how this works is the last question has to be the game.
Yeah.
Is it this game? So we only have one more question to narrow it down. What else fits?
Nintendo Land, a later Mario Kart,
Yeah, it
Mario
could be.
sports
It could be a
games.
sports game.
Mario Strikers.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's a
So
lot.
we can eliminate Mario sports games with one question. But how can we eliminate that and Mario Party and
We can't. I think it's probably Nintendo Land.
should we just ask if it's on the Wii U?
I think we should ask if it's a sports game because that knocks out a lot of stuff.
But if we ask if it's on the Wii U, it'll definitely confirm.
Well, there's some sports games on the Wii U.
Yeah, but nobody cares about those.
Sure.
And honestly, on the GameCube, nobody does either. So I don't think it's.
I think it's a Wii U game because he made us pick between Wii or Wii U earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to ask if it's a sports game?
Yeah.
And then go with Nintendo Land after that.
Yeah. Is it a sports game?
No.
Is it Nintendo Land?
Yes.
Strategy.
Well done.
2012 launch title for Wii U.
Woo. We
Well done.
started in MOBA
Yeah, we got
and
that.
then
Yeah.
snaked back to Nintendo games.
I haven't thought about Nintendo Land for many, many years.
Nobody has.
Remember when it was like the focus of their last real press conference?
Yeah. Yeah.
or their booth.
Yeah.
Their booth was Nintendo Land.
I own Nintendo Land. I have never played it.
There you go.
No,
I think a lot of people are probably in that same boat.
Yeah.
I only played the Donkey Kong game outside of events.
I'm so glad you guys got there. I was worried. There for a second.
We did it.
Yeah, you did it.
In the Mario universe is something we've used once before
Yep.
to our great advantage, and that's a really good question.
Yeah,
That's
but
a good
then-
question. And is it considered a classic? Is also a good question.
Would you say Kart is in the Mario universe?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, all the Mario characters are in it.
Yeah.
You tell me, Damon, yes or no?
But also,
I
there's
would probably say yes.
there's
in
a
the
picture of Mario and Luigi in Ocarina of Time. So
Yeah, that's
Where?
true.
it's in the Hyrule Castle.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
you
guys
can
not know
look.
about this?
No, you
I
can
didn't
look
know it.
through the little cracks and
Yeah.
see inside there. And Bowser in a bomb maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
pretty
you can
interesting.
peek. You have to. It's not actually that tricky, but if you manipulate the camera in a little bit of a weird way, it's an Easter egg. Inside Hyrule Castle is portraits. Of
When you
Mario
meet Zelda as a child outside.
Yep. In the,
she's
in the
peeking
courtyard.
in.
Huh. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So what generation? Where does Wii U fall? Like it's it's like
It just fell through the cracks.
yeah, it did fall. through the
You know,
cracks.
it
where it
doesn't
fell.
really sit anywhere.
Through the cracks.
There's an argument on Wikipedia about the semantics of console generations and how to categorize new consoles when they come out, what generation they should be numbered as, like first gen, second gen, third gen.
Yeah, it's tough.
Wait, no, but the Wii U did launch alongside the PS4, Xbox One.
No, it launched in 2012. Before
How long before?
2013 was PS4.
I would say it's part of that. I thought they just led that console generation.
So Nintendo has two consoles.
So that's what I mean.
No, they're ahead of this next generation.
But that's what I mean. It gets weirder now because now the Switch is years ahead of when the next gen starts because they killed the Wii U so early.
yeah.
So it's
But
like Nintendo.
it's more like a 0.5 though.
yeah, Nintendo.
It is. It's a
but it's a
0.5.
new. But does it start a new generation? That's the question.
It's just weird that it came out alongside two other 0.5 systems.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. All right,
Are you happy to have won?
So happy. So very happy.
you're
I wouldn't want you guys to have lost because, I'm here.
no.
That's never happened. We always lose.
Yeah.
So
We very
No,
rarely win.
whoever is
not
here.
true.
No, but I mean,
You
like,
win more often than you lose.
yeah. Is that the stats these days?
I think so. So real quick before we leave, let's
lose
share what we've been playing. Lucy, I know you've been traveling, but have you been playing anything recently?
No, I mean, I'm like a little bit behind because I have been traveling and all this stuff. But I did finally get to play Celeste, which I really loved.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It is brutally difficult, but it's not like ridiculously punishing, which is what I like. You know, it's very, very hard, but I don't feel like it's unfair.
Yeah, sure.
So I've been loving that.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Sam, still playing Wolfenstein 2?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all longer than I thought. I took on those
told you.
assassination missions, and then I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot more game here.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a very different place than where I started, and it's really cool.
Yes.
So
It's
good.
really,
It's
really
so good how it does
we were
that.
just talking about this. There's some really good stuff at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to spoil it because it's really fun.
Very fun. Very surprising.
Plot-wise. I put it on easy. I'm not ashamed to admit
I
it.
was just gonna say, play it on easy.
I just did that because, I did it about halfway through the game because otherwise you play it kind of like a Bethesda game where you use save states like all the time. And I don't always want to play a game where I'm saving every 5
The game's
seconds.
taking you on a journey, and you just want to slay some Nazis, and there's no reason, like, normal and hard are there, if you're that kind of gamer. But just, I don't know. I don't think that's the way to play that game.
Justin's still watching Steven Universe.
Watching a lot of Steven Universe. No, I'm still playing through Pillars of Eternity, and on the weekends, as a special treat, I am playing Mario Odyssey with my 3-year-old. She's turning 4 soon. It's her very first video game. Besides some like Lego games on phones and stuff. When we
So what is she able to do?
So she's so horrible at it. Just really, really awful. Just can't.
I'm really glad that you said that because I was waiting for the whole. She's just like amazing. She's just picked it up and
can't do anything in it at all. We turned on assist mode and she still somehow manages to die.
What is assist mode?
So it's really
off the edge.
Assist mode is crazy. It's the coolest thing. I don't know. I don't play these modes in the games that I play. So it has a blue arrow that tells you where to go all the time, which is nice for little ones. It just go here.
For a moon?
Yeah, like it always tells you just follow the blue arrows and it's going to lead you down the critical path.
That's a lot of programming.
Getting whatever you need. Yeah, and Mario has double the health, and if you stand still for a second, he heals up. Heals back up to full health. So I have to teach her. I'm like, don't move Mario for a minute. Let him heal up. And we rigged up this sort of like ad hoc. So the problem was she couldn't move Mario. I'd be like, okay, because she's never used a joystick before. I'm like, you move the joystick to the left and Mario moves to the left. She's like, I want to go over there. And I'm like, okay, move the joystick that direction. And she just runs him straight off a cliff. And then I'm like, okay, like since you were holding up, he ran off the cliff. So hold the joystick this way. And she just runs him off the cliff again. And that happened like 5 times in a row. And then like she's getting frustrated. And I'm a very patient dad, believe it or not. And I'm like trying to, but eventually I'm like, we rigged up this sort of like ad hoc linked together system where now I move Mario, but then she has the other joystick. Mm-hmm. So I move Mario and then she controls the jumps and then shakes it to throw his hat. So I have to tell her, I'm like, okay, throw the hat. We're going to take over this enemy.
It's pretty cute.
Very fun. And she asks to play Mario a lot.
Great.
Very cute.
And I had my wife take a picture of us because it's the very first time we've like ever played a video game together. And for me, it was like a big moment, but mom didn't understand like why that would be important to me at all.
That's not too surprising, I don't think. I've been playing a lot of Far Cry 5 because I'm reviewing that for IGN.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, what's the score?
I'm not going to share the score right
When
this
can you
moment.
tell us?
How deep are you in?
Several hours.
Right.
I can't talk about too much yet, but I'll be playing that all this week, and then my review should be up next Monday morning, the 26th, I believe.
Nice.
Please be excited for that. That is all the scoops we have here this week. Lucy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Lucy. My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.